Is everyone ready? Everyone good to go? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for coming and assisting us with messaging out some important information. I have with me today our Director of the Crime Stoppers, Darlene Costanza, our Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club President, Mr. Elroy James, and a longtime historian for the Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club, Mr. Clarence Becknell, Deputy Chief of Operations, Chief John Thomas, as well as Captain LeJean Roberts over the 1st District. We're here to give a little update on the reward that in relation to the murder of our Detective Everett Briscoe, as well as update on some services. So before I get started, I want to commend the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, our commission as well as our non-commissioned personnel. For their courage, they stayed strong thus far, unwavering in their commitment to our city's public safety after learning of the death of their beloved colleague. This has been some rough days, these last few days, for each and every one of us. So I'm proud of our officers as well as our non-commissioned personnel for coming together, as well as our city. I want to thank our city. I mean, I received so many phone calls from elected officials to community leaders to faith-based leaders, just expressing their love and support for the police department. I want to extend my condolences once again to the Briscoe family, his wife, Terrell, and their 2 sons, Detective Briscoe's mother, Miss Myrtle Jackson. We can only imagine what they could be possibly going through at this point in time. But I want them to know that we as a department, we as a city, stand with them, stand with Zulu as they go through this trying time. I would also like to extend my prayers to the recovery family, and I'm praying for a safe recovery of Mr. Darren. I know him as DJ Recovery, as he's fighting for his life in Houston as well. And I mean, the love that we received, Causeway Police, on the beautiful sign that they posted along the bridge. Saints Organization, Superdome, did a fantastic moment of silence last night at the Saints game. I was there to witness that, and I can tell you, it brought tears to many of us, to many of our eyes last night at the game. So just thank you all for that. Houston Police, Chief Finn, I cannot thank him enough. Mayor Turner as well. But I want to thank some of my local partners as well. Colonel Davis, Lamar Davis of the State Police. I want to thank Chief Murphy Paul of Baton Rouge Police. I want to thank Sheriff Joe LaPinto, as well as Chief Arthur Lawson, as they are all with our team right now, helping to bring our brother home. Right now, the last call, the last update I received, they were in somewhere between Lake Charles and Lafayette on their way to New Orleans. So, and we will be there to receive him upon his arrival. So Chief Finner, Charles Finner, he just concluded his news conference in which he provided the latest on the investigation. I will say again, this is a Houston Police Department's investigation, so any questions about that I cannot answer. You have to go to, you have to reach out to Houston Police Department for any questions with regards to this investigation. But he and his team has kept me abreast as to every step of the way about this investigation. But I want to take this moment to thank a few people that was with Chief Fenner today as they announced the increase in the reward. I won't mention that amount. I'm going to allow Darlene to speak to that. But I want to mention the fact, Ms. Rania McHarris, the Executive Director of Crime Stoppers in Houston, ATF Special Agent Fred Menalowski, they announced this award increase. Even the Houston mayor invested and donated to this increase in this reward. And Mr. Tillman Fatita, who is a generous business owner in Houston as well as in New Orleans, has offered to match that Crime Stoppers amount. So I want to thank them as well as thank the elected officials. I received calls from the district attorneys, some of the state representatives, as well as council members there in Houston, also expressing their outpouring love and support for the city of New Orleans during this trying time. I want to ask Darlene to come and speak to that reward increase, and I would then ask President Elroy James to say a few words, and I'll come back and close with some more information for you all. Darlene?
Thank you, Chief. And on behalf of Crime Stoppers New Orleans, we immediately knew that when an officer is killed, we step up. We needed to do our part. And we're very thankful that we were able to raise a total of $20,000 that has been added to the Crime Stoppers of Houston's reward. And again, Houston Crime Stoppers is managing this process, and they announced today that the reward is now including our $20,000 and $100,000 cash reward. So we know that there's people out there that have information, and we just pray that this will now lead to those calls, the much needed information to be able to find justice. But not only the detective's family, Detective Briscoe's family, but all of the department. And for Crime Stoppers, it was important for us to step up. We stand always with NOPD and all law enforcement. So what we're telling the detective's family, Detective Briscoe, and everybody here, we've got your back. Now that the reward is out of the way, now you can just focus on healing and supporting Detective Briscoe's family. And as always, if Crime Stoppers receives any tips, we will circulate that to the Houston Crime Stoppers. Thank you.
Mr. Chief, I want to thank you and the members of the New Orleans Police Department for the support that they have shown the Briscoe family and the Recoffey family during this tragic time. And I want to send a special thanks to Crime Stoppers Houston and our local chapter of Crime Stoppers for stepping up so generously to help solve this heinous crime. We know that someone knows something about what happened in Houston on Saturday, and Houston and New Orleans is a better place when our city is free from violent crime, and so we need your help. And the Zulu Associated Pleasure Club is asking you to step up to the plate and add some closure to the Briscoe family and the Recoffey family. But I also need to thank the citizens of the city of New Orleans for the outpouring of calls that I've received as president of the Zulu Associated Pleasure Club. I can tell you that this brotherhood is hurting. It is certainly a difficult time for the members of the Zulu Associated Pleasure Club. So I want to ask the citizens to keep our organization lifted up in prayer. And to our Houston family, our sister city, please continue to pray for everyone in our organization and the Briscoe and Recoffey family. I want to thank the police chief of the city of Houston, who stepped up and did a yeoman's job while we were in Houston on Saturday, and to the mayor of the city. They helped us the best they could in the most difficult time, and so we are grateful for our point of support that we receive. But again, if you know something, please say something and keep this organization and its members and the Briscoe family and the Recoffey family lifted up in prayers. And thank everybody for what they have done so far.
Thank you. So with that being said, I mean, that main message here is to say, hey, the money has been increased, the reward has been increased. Houston and New Orleans are very close. I mean, Mayor Turner speaks to our mayor, Mayor Cantrell, almost weekly. I speak to Chief Finner almost daily. It has been our relationship over the last 8-9 years. But not just that. Every time this city went through something, if we go back to Katrina, New Orleans was in Houston, and Houston took care of us. When Houston went through Harvey, New Orleans was here for Houston. So this is a well-connected city. So I can't say, and I do not know where these shooters, these perpetrators, these violent offenders are from. But what I can say is I hope that if there is anyone in the city of New Orleans that has any information, to please call us. Or you can call Crime Stoppers, and I have the number for Houston Crime Stoppers, area code 713-222-8477. Please call them and give them whatever information that you can provide. In closing, as I said, immediately following this, we will be at professional funeral services to receive our fallen brother as he arrives here in the city of New Orleans. His body right now, his body will lie in state on Friday at Mahalia Jackson Theater. I will give that a specific time when we have it narrowed down. And right now we're planning to have his services on Saturday at Xavier University Convocation Center. And we would release that time as well. But right now, again, as President James said, look, this city needs some healing, this family needs some healing, Zulu needs some healing, and this department needs some healing. So help us to bring some closure to this during this healing process with whatever information that you can provide. With that, Gary, I'll answer any questions, if any.
Yeah, Chief, you said, you don't have any specific reason to believe that people in New Orleans would know something about this.
Mm-hmm.
Is your department involved at all in the investigation or any detectives?
This is totally led by Houston Police Department. They and the ATF, I want to commend, I did not mention that, but ATF of Houston as well, they donated some money to the reward as well. So I want to thank them. They are working with Houston PD and on this investigation.
So the total reward, I'm just trying to understand, so with New Orleans Crime Stoppers and Houston Crime Stoppers altogether, it's 20,000, is that?
No, altogether it's 100,000. Our Crime Stoppers donated 20,000 towards that 100,000. I'm sorry, sound like it's a what? Well, I can't even answer that question. I don't know what information they have received or obtained thus far. Again, as they get information that they can update me with, they get it to me, but I have not been given that information per se.
Chief, I know you've done this, but I just to reiterate,
Mm-hmm.
Officer Briscoe, if you could just talk about him for a moment.
I mean, Detective Briscoe is, that model officer that we would like to have in New Orleans. He was a part of Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club. He was a Mason. He was well connected and loved by the community. I mean, he was a member of Southern University Marching Band. So in that, if you're in a band, and as we call them band heads, you're into all of the different music entities throughout this city. That is our culture. So he was that model officer when you talk about community policing.
Anyone else? All right, gang, thank you very much.
Thank you all again.